be a future team for Max Verstappen. Verstappen has been heavily linked to an Aston Martin move, as well as Mercedes, of course, but Schumacher reckons Ferrari cannot be forgotten, as they're known to attract big-name drivers.
Is the era of Red Bull dominance finally over? Could we be witnessing the end of Max Verstappen's championship reign before the season even begins? The shocking claim that the four-time world champion doesn't have a chance of winning this year's title. Meanwhile, Lewis Hamilton prepares for his historic Ferrari debut in Melbourne after addressing concerns about racism in Italy, and former boss Toto Wolff reveals a bombshell about breaking promises to the seven-time champion. Stay with me as we unpack what could be the most competitive and dramatic F1 season in years.
And I also think linking up with Fred Vasseur is a brilliant way to go full circle.
Right.
Because Fred was his team boss in Formula 3 and GP2, and I believe fervently created the most potent version of Lewis Hamilton that has ever existed. And I include the seven-time Formula 1 world champion version of Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
When he was at McLaren, he was always kind of like, they were trying to restrict him, pigeonhole him into this
Fit
thing.
in a box.
Even at Mercedes, he was never that free.
Okay.
And now he is Sir Lewis Hamilton, the greatest of all time. If he can help Lewis to untap that version of himself again, it's going to be the greatest comeback.
Yeah.
You imagine it, 26 in that Ferrari. I honestly don't think there's a single person that watches Formula 1 who doesn't think that Lewis is worthy of an 8th title, and how great it would be to have Lewis win an 8th world championship. And if he does it at Ferrari with Fred, the whole thing coming together, I think it would be absolutely
epic.
The 2025 Formula 1 season kicks off this week with the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne, and the paddock is buzzing with anticipation. After 4 consecutive championships, Max Verstappen's reign at the top could be in serious jeopardy, according to former F1 driver Ralf Schumacher. Speaking on the Sky Germany podcast, Schumacher made the bold declaration. Last year it was clear. Red Bull was very strong at the start of the season, but then they couldn't handle the car. Verstappen was the rescue. However, he will have to get used to everything coming to an end. I don't think he has a chance.
Who's the best driver you think you drove with?
It has to be Verstappen, because he's very soon going to be a top 5 of all time, with Senna, Schumacher, with Lewis. That's 4, and then the 5th one is already Fangio. It's easy, actually.
Do you think he will keep going, as long as it takes?
I don't know. I mean, he's already mentioning now that it's not going to be forever, but for sure he has many, many more years in it. At the moment also, it has become, I think, a little bit easier currently for him, because there's no teammate that's threatening him, because he is so fast and his car is so great. So those are obviously the most enjoyable times then in F1, where you're so dominant and can win all the time. You do want a little bit of competition, obviously, as a driver, but it's generally good for the driver and not good for the sport.
These comments follow Red Bull's concerning performance in pre-season testing, where technical director Pierre Wash admitted the RB21 did not respond how we wanted at times. Even Verstappen himself has tempered expectations, saying, "I don't think we can compete for victory in Melbourne, but hopefully we will be able to make improvements within a few races." The Dutchman added, "It's never good enough, of course, but I think we expected a tiny bit more from it ourselves." After the test, you do have time to go through the data and come to certain conclusions, but as I said, I think we do need to improve some things. This uncertainty at Red Bull coincides with Lewis Hamilton's historic move to Ferrari, creating one of the most anticipated team debuts in Formula 1 history. After 12 years and 6 world championships with Mercedes, Hamilton will don the famous red race suit alongside Charles Leclerc. However, Hamilton's move wasn't without careful consideration. In a surprising revelation, the 7-time world champion admitted that incidents of racism in Italian football crossed his mind when deciding to join the Maranello-based team. As F1's first and only black driver, Hamilton has faced racial abuse throughout his career, including having bananas thrown at him and being repeatedly called the N-word at school. Referencing incidents involving Serie A footballers like Mike Maignan and Moise Kean, Hamilton acknowledged that these concerns factored into his decision-making process before ultimately committing to Ferrari.
After 12 years together, Lewis tells me I'm going to Ferrari. Really?
Good for Lewis. Good for his bank account.
Meanwhile, Hamilton's former boss, Toto Wolff, has caused a stir with revelations from the latest season of Netflix's Drive to Survive. The Mercedes team principal admitted he promised Hamilton he wouldn't pursue Max Verstappen while the British driver was still at the team, a promise Wolff apparently broke. As revealed in Season 7 of the popular documentary series, Wolff made no secret of his desire to sign Hamilton's 2021 foe Verstappen, especially amid unrest at Red Bull at the start of last season. This behind-the-scenes drama adds another layer to Hamilton's departure from Mercedes.
I didn't like my teammates, never, except Jensen, I have to say. He was a relatively easy guy, but on the other hand, I was difficult for my teammates too, because I didn't want any conversation other than setup work we had to do with the engineers. So, because that was separate for me, and teammate was always the first one to be beaten. But saying that, I think you always also, you wanted the best out of the drivers. And Frank Williams' style, although he isn't around, he also wanted the drivers to be in a fight to each other, because he thought then they achieve more for his team.
Speaking of Verstappen's future, Ralf Schumacher has sparked speculation about where the Dutchman might land if Red Bull's struggles continue. Despite being under contract until 2028, Verstappen reportedly has a performance-based exit clause that could be triggered if he spends significant time outside the top 3 in the championship. Maybe that will help in his decision about a next step, Schumacher suggested. I seriously think he's going to struggle. While Aston Martin has been mentioned as a potential destination, Schumacher offered a more explosive possibility. Maybe it's a bit far-fetched, and it mainly depends on how long he stays at Red Bull, but Verstappen could also go to Ferrari. You can't write off that option. Imagine the drama. Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen as teammates at Ferrari after their fierce 2021 rivalry. The pair became arch-enemies during that controversial season, which ended with Verstappen claiming his first title on the last lap of the final race in Abu Dhabi.
Valtteri Bottas has had a go into the first chicane.
So we have been given a 5-second penalty.
For what?
Don't worry about it. Get your head down.
No, don't worry about it. I gave him space.
With Red Bull seemingly on the decline and several teams on the rise, McLaren appears to be the new favorite heading into 2025. Lando Norris, who helped deliver McLaren's first constructors' title in 26 years last season, now faces immense pressure to deliver a driver's championship. After taking the checkered flag in Abu Dhabi to close out 2024, Norris celebrated with mixed emotions,
saying over team radio, "It's been a special year, and next year is going to be my year too. For the Bristol-born driver, there are no excuses now. He must capitalize on McLaren's momentum." The 2025 grid also features exciting rookie talent, including Mercedes' Italian prodigy Kimi Antonelli, who replaces Hamilton alongside George Russell. After losing 19-5 in qualifying to Russell last year and finishing a career-worst 7th in the championship, Hamilton faces a new challenge against Charles Leclerc at Ferrari. Leclerc, widely regarded as one of F1's quickest drivers over a single lap with 26 pole positions, will be looking to improve his conversion rate of just 8 race wins. Many analysts expect Leclerc to finish ahead of Hamilton in the championship standings and pose the strongest challenge to Norris's title aspirations. Verstappen, meanwhile, welcomes a new teammate in Liam Lawson, who joins Red Bull after competing in 11 Grands Prix with VCarB. The New Zealander replaces Sergio Perez and will be eager to prove himself alongside the 4-time champion. As the teams arrive in Melbourne for the season opener, the stage is set for what could be the most competitive and unpredictable Formula One season in recent memory. With Red Bull potentially vulnerable, Ferrari bolstered by Hamilton's arrival, and McLaren continuing their ascent, 2025 promises to deliver thrilling battles throughout the grid. What do you think? Has Verstappen's era of dominance truly come to an end? Could we see Hamilton claim that record-breaking 8th title with Ferrari? Or will Lando Norris finally fulfill his championship potential with McLaren? Drop your predictions in the comments below. If you enjoyed this F1 breakdown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to F1 Inside Track for more exclusive coverage throughout the 2025 season. We'll be bringing you all the latest news, race analysis, and paddock drama after every Grand Prix. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll see you after the checkered flag in Melbourne.
Forza Ferrari! Are you hiding? Are you coming out? I've been waiting for this day forever, so I'm really, really happy. I'm excited to meet everybody. Can't wait to start and get going. Oh, grazie. Christmas? Exactly. This is the one.
The Formula One world was stunned when Lewis Hamilton announced his move to Ferrari for the 2025 season. But now, Ferrari chairman John Elkann has come out swinging against critics who claim this partnership is nothing more than a marketing exercise. Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, sent shockwaves through the paddock when Ferrari announced on February 1st last year that he would be racing in the famous red in 2025. The impact was immediate, not just in racing circles, but on financial markets as well. But is Hamilton's move to Ferrari purely about boosting the Italian brand's market value, or is there a genuine sporting ambition at the heart of this partnership? Let's dive into what Ferrari's leadership is saying about these unfair claims. When Ferrari confirmed they'd signed Lewis Hamilton for 25, it wasn't just fans who took notice. The business world watched closely as one of sport's biggest names prepared to don the red suit. Hamilton will join Ferrari after 12 years with Mercedes, where he claimed 6 of his 7 world championships. His partnership with Charles Leclerc creates one of the most formidable driver lineups in recent F1 history. The move wasn't entirely unexpected for those paying attention. Despite signing what appeared to be a 2-year contract with Mercedes covering 2024 and 2025, it's now clear the second year was merely an option. Hamilton activated an exit clause, allowing him to make the switch to Maranello. For Carlos Sainz, the current Ferrari driver, this announcement meant finding a new home for 2025. The Spaniard has since signed with Williams, convinced by James Vowles' vision for the historic team. The financial impact of Hamilton's signing was dramatic and immediate. Ferrari's share price jumped significantly after the announcement, highlighting the commercial power of the Hamilton brand. Sports business expert Joe Pompliano reported Hamilton is signing with Ferrari and the stock is up 7% pre-market. The financials behind a move like this are fascinating. Former F1 driver Karun Chandhok put it into perspective, the power of the Lewis Hamilton brand. Ferrari's share price has jumped 6% today. On a market cap of $66 billion, his news is worth $4 billion. The numbers tell an impressive story. Having closed trading on January 31st with a share price of $346.78, Ferrari's stock rocketed to a high of $384 the next day as Hamilton's signing became public. Some reports suggest the company's market capitalization increased by as much as $10 billion following the announcement. Ferrari's current stock price is significantly higher than its 12-month low of $252.17, with the Hamilton announcement contributing to this upward trajectory. With such dramatic financial gains, it didn't take long for some observers to suggest Hamilton's signing was primarily a business decision rather than a sporting one. Former Ferrari driver Jackie Ickx was among those who framed the move in marketing terms. After Sky F1 commentator Martin Brundle remarked that Hamilton's signing was certainly worth it for Ferrari already, Ickx claimed Ferrari brought in the 7-time world champion probably for marketing reasons. Ickx said, "We have to remember that there are many important aspects to F1, and not just politics. There are also economics, marketing." These comments suggested Ferrari valued Hamilton more for his brand appeal than his racing abilities. For a team that hasn't won a Constructors' Championship since 2008, this characterization touched a nerve with Ferrari leadership. Ferrari chairman John Elkann didn't hold back when addressing these claims in an interview with Time magazine. Elkann stated, "I think it's really unfair to Lewis," some of the comments saying, "This is a marketing operation." He then delivered a clear message about the priorities for both Hamilton and Ferrari. Truth said, Lewis doesn't need that. Ferrari doesn't need that. Elkann emphasized that the focus remains squarely on competitive success. What we need to do is win championships and do great things on the track. If that happens, what we can do outside of the track in some ways takes care of itself. The chairman's comments reflect Ferrari's hunger to return to the top of Formula One, suggesting they see Hamilton as a key piece in that sporting puzzle, not just a commercial asset. Elkann concluded with an optimistic view of the partnership's potential. There's unlimited possibilities. Elkann isn't alone in defending the sporting credentials of Hamilton's signing. Former Ferrari president Luca Di Montezemolo also pushed back against the marketing narrative. In recent years, Ferrari's problem had nothing to do with its drivers, Montezemolo told Radio GR Parlamento. Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc are strong, and Lewis Hamilton is a phenomenon, as is Max Verstappen. Montezemolo reinforced the view that Hamilton's motivation is competitive, not commercial. His joining Ferrari is more than just a marketing plan, as he wants to end his career by still winning in the red. The former president acknowledged both the risk and potential in bringing Hamilton to Ferrari. The choice of Hamilton is, of course, a risk on the one hand, because you bring in a champion who has already won so much and wants to continue that at Ferrari. On the other hand, however, you have Leclerc, who has never won a title despite all kinds of good races. Montezemolo's analysis points to the sporting logic behind the decision, while recognizing the challenge of managing two top-tier drivers with championship ambitions. It's worth noting that Ferrari wasn't in need of a financial boost when they signed Hamilton. The company was already performing exceptionally well before the announcement. For the quarter before Hamilton's signing, Ferrari reported revenue of 1.52 billion euros, or $1.65 billion, exceeding estimates of 1.5 billion euros. Sales jumped 11% from the previous year. Ferrari's 2023 net profit surged by an impressive 34%, topping 1 billion euros for the first time and reaching a record 1.257 billion euros, or $1.3 billion. CEO Benedetto Vigna celebrated these results. He said, "2023 was a very successful year, during which we strengthened our brand through a number of achievements reflected in our unprecedented financial results. From a delivery standpoint, Ferrari shipped 13,663 cars in 2023, up 3% from the previous year, with deliveries to the Americas driving growth at 10.6%. The company's Purosangue SUV and hybrid sports cars like the 296 and SF90 were particularly successful. With such strong performance, it's clear Ferrari didn't need Hamilton simply for financial reasons. As Elkann stated, what they need is world titles. Lewis Hamilton brings unmatched credentials to Ferrari. With 7 world championships, tied with Michael Schumacher for the most in F1 history, and 103 Grand Prix victories, the most of any driver, his on-track achievements speak for themselves. Hamilton is also a commercial powerhouse. According to Forbes, he ranked 21st on their world's highest-paid athletes list in 2023, earning $55 million in salary plus $10 million in endorsements. His 2-year contract with Mercedes, signed in August before his Ferrari move, was reportedly worth over $120 million. Hamilton's profile has grown significantly through Netflix's Drive to Survive series, which has introduced F1 to new audiences worldwide. Hamilton himself had previously hinted at the appeal of Ferrari. "I'd be lying if I said I'd never thought about ending my career anywhere else," he told ESPN. "I thought about and watched the Ferrari drivers on the screens at the track. And of course you wonder what it would be like to be in red. But then I go to my team, to Mercedes, and this is my home. I'm happy where I am." Despite those earlier comments, Hamilton has now made the move that many F1 drivers dream of, joining the sport's most iconic team.